There's a law in this universe, one that even time can't outrun. Balance always restores itself. When chaos is thrown out, it comes back full circle. When you plant pain, it eventually blooms in your own garden. And when people tried to bury you, chosen one, they didn't know you were a seed. You weren't erased, you were evolving. You weren't forgotten, you were being fortified. And now you're not just returning, you're about to shake the very ground they walk on. This isn't some motivational feel-good comeback. This is spiritual war. This is the echo of destiny aligning itself. This is the moment you realize the storm wasn't meant to drown you. It was meant to introduce you. Chosen one, listen carefully. The version of you that they dismissed, that version is gone. What's emerging now is sharper, colder in the right places, refined by fire, built for impact. While they slept on you, you were being sculpted. While they talked, you trained in silence. And now the energy you carry, it's undeniable, uncontainable, unmatched. You were never meant to fit in. You were designed to break patterns, disrupt systems, and activate others just by being you. They thought your silence was surrender, but it was strategy. They thought they'd seen the last of you, but you were just getting started. And here's the wildest part. The world has no blueprint for what's coming next. Because what's coming is you. Not the version they mocked, not the one they thought they could manage, but the force they never prepared for, the glitch in their system, the walking wake-up call, the divine disruption. So if you feel that fire stirring inside you again, that's not random. That's your spirit remembering who it is. Your comeback isn't just personal, it's prophetic. Smash that subscribe button right now if this message already resonates with your soul. And drop 999 in the comments if you feel the storm is rising inside you again. Let's wake up the other chosen ones who are just now remembering their power. Let's get into it. Isolation was divine strategy. Chosen one, let's clear something up right now. You were never rejected. You were repositioned. See, when you're chosen, isolation is not punishment, it's protection. It wasn't that people didn't want you. It wasn't that environments didn't fit you. It's that your energy was too rare, too potent, too powerful to stay where it wasn't valued. What felt like abandonment was actually precision. It was the universe pulling you out of contaminated spaces before you were poisoned beyond repair. Think about it. When a weapon is being upgraded, it's not left lying around in public. It's taken away, hidden, refined in secret. The most powerful things in this world are developed in silence, while people thought you were forgotten, while they whispered that you had fallen off. The truth is, you were in divine isolation, a spiritual laboratory where your future was being built out of their absence. The universe doesn't waste time removing what doesn't matter. But when you were removed, that was the sign. Something bigger was loading, a timeline was shifting. A destiny was getting ready to unfold that couldn't be exposed too early. Chosen one, you didn't lose connection, you were unplugged on purpose. It was strategic, like pulling a wire before an explosion, like yanking the cord out of a toxic system so you wouldn't get corrupted. They thought they ghosted you. They thought they betrayed you, but the truth is they were being used to extract you. See, when God protects his most dangerous vessels, the ones carrying healing, awakening, and generational power, he doesn't announce it. He moves in silence. And so he used them. Their rejection was part of the rescue mission. Every door that shut in your face, divine detour. Every fake friend that switched up, divine protection. Every opportunity that suddenly disappeared, divine recalibration. You weren't broken. You were being removed like a diamond from toxic soil, not because you were worthless, but because you were too rare to be touched. And while they sat there thinking they discarded you like trash, heaven was treating you like treasure. That's why your isolation hurt so much, because it was sacred. You didn't belong to those rooms. You didn't belong to those circles. You didn't belong to that shallow soil. And the longer you tried to stay, the more uncomfortable it became. Because the universe wouldn't allow you to shrink to fit a place you were destined to outgrow. Let this settle in your spirit. The people who ghosted you didn't reject you, they released you. They were only part of your story for a season. Temporary characters in a divine plot twist they didn't even understand. And what did you do in that isolation? You evolved. While they laughed at your silence, while they celebrated your absence, you were becoming untouchable. Let me tell you something dangerous about isolation. It teaches you who you really are without the noise, without the opinions, without the applause, without the validation. Isolation is where warriors are built. It's where crowns are reforged. It's where divine weapons are sharpened. Chosen one, nothing about your quiet season was random. It was calculated. It was surgical. Heaven was stripping away your distractions. Heaven was muting your access. Heaven was shutting down your old identity so that your true one could emerge. And now you carry a different weight, a different frequency, a different level of clarity. You didn't just heal, you hardened in the right places. You didn't just rest, you recalibrated. You didn't just survive, you upgraded. The old version of you couldn't enter this next level. It wasn't strong enough. It wasn't sharp enough. It wasn't bold enough. And the version of you that's emerging, it walks different. It speaks different. It doesn't explain itself. This is what they don't understand. Their greatest mistake wasn't letting you go. It was thinking you would stay gone. Because when a chosen one walks back into the world after divine isolation, they don't walk in quietly. They walk in like a storm. Every room you re-enter from this point forward will feel it. Every space that once tolerated you will now have to adjust to you. You are not walking back in as a rejected soul. You are walking back in as a refined force. Remember this forever. Isolation wasn't the end of your story. It was the preparation for your elevation. Let them tell their version of the story. Let them believe they pushed you out. Let them hold on to their illusions, because the truth is, the universe was pulling you back like an arrow. The greater the pullback, the greater the launch. And now, chosen one, you are fully loaded, fully aligned, and fully dangerous to every environment that tried to suppress you. Let's move forward, because your return is just getting started. The void you left is unfillable. 900 words. Chosen one. Let me tell you something few people will ever admit when you left. Everything changed. Not loud, not public, not dramatic, no. It happened quietly, like the ground shifting beneath their feet, and they didn't even realize it. See, they thought your absence was nothing. They thought they could replace you, fill the gap, move on, keep the same rhythm. But here's the truth most can't face. Your presence wasn't ordinary. Your energy wasn't surface level. You were holding things together in ways nobody saw. You were the stabilizer, the anchor, the balance in a world built on noise. Chosen one. Your exit left a void that nothing could fill. Not new friends, not distractions, not noise, not false replacements. And deep down, they know it. The spaces you left behind didn't collapse in an explosion. It wasn't instant chaos. No, it was worse. It was slow, it was silent, it was a hollow that grew with time, until even they had to admit, something's missing. Not just anyone, not just any energy. You, see, when a chosen one exits, reality doesn't stay the same. It glitches, it malfunctions, it cracks, slowly. And that's what happened without you. They tried to fill the space, they added more people, they reached for imitation energy. But nothing worked, because you weren't just someone in the room. You were the unseen gravity holding it all together. You brought peace where there was tension, depth where there was shallowness, realness where there was fake. But they didn't respect it when they had it. They didn't honor it when you gave it freely. And now the illusion has shattered. Now they sit in rooms that feel colder, quieter, unsettling. Not because you did anything, but because you're gone. Chosen one. This is where the shift becomes brutal, because the version of you they knew, That version doesn't exist anymore. The one who gave too much? Gone. The one who stayed quiet to keep the peace? Gone. The one who dimmed their light to make others comfortable? Gone. What's walking back into those spaces now is a version of you sharpened by isolation, strengthened by silence, refined by rejection. And here's what will sting them most. You're not coming back to fit in, you're coming back to stand apart. They tried to forget you. They tried to replace you. But what they didn't know is that you were never replaceable. You were original, unmatched, one of one. Your energy, it's coded into the very atmosphere of the rooms you once blessed. And now that you're returning, oh, they'll feel it. Every single person, every single space. It won't be loud, it won't be forced, it'll just be. That's how power works. It doesn't beg to be seen, it doesn't chase validation, it just is, chosen one. Your return isn't about going back, it's about realignment. This is cosmic correction in real time. Wherever you step, things will shift, conversations will change, energy will adjust. People will rethink their actions, not because you said anything, but because your presence will demand it. The empty space you left behind wasn't a curse, it was a lesson. For them, it taught them that not every energy is common, not every soul is replaceable, not every presence can be ignored without consequences. And now, as you walk back in with more clarity, more power, more weight, you don't have to prove anything. Your presence will do what your words never needed to. Chosen one. You were never missing. You were multiplying. You weren't gone. You were gathering wisdom, gathering strength, gathering divine backing. And when you step into those old rooms, it won't be the same. You won't be the same. And here's what they'll never confess. They felt the shift the moment you left. And now that you're back, they'll feel something else, something heavier, something undeniable, something they can't name, but can't shake. Chosen one. This isn't just your comeback. This is their wake-up call, not to who you were, but to who you've become. And the question they'll whisper when they see you now, over and over again. Who is that? It's you. The one they underestimated, the one they thought was gone for good, the one they could never replace. And this time, they won't just notice your return. They'll feel it in every room, every conversation, every silence. Because you're not just back. You're back as the force they never saw coming. You were made to disrupt systems. Chosen one. Let's settle something right now. You were never born to blend in. You were born to disrupt. Not in the way people think. Not with noise, not with force, but with presence. Your very existence challenges illusions. Your spirit doesn't ask for permission. It walks in and shifts the entire frequency of a room. That's why you were always misunderstood. That's why people either admired you or feared you. You've always been a spark that made things uncomfortable. Not because you were wrong, but because you were real in a world that survives on fake. You've been the silent reset button in every room you entered. Some felt peace when you showed up. Others felt panic. That's not your burden. That's your proof. Proof that your presence forces truth to the surface. Proof that your energy exposes what others are trying to hide. You don't even need to say a word and people feel the weight of who you are. Because you weren't just sent to inspire. You were sent to interfere. To interrupt patterns, to awaken sleeping souls, to dismantle lies just by standing in truth. It's why you couldn't fit in. Why every attempt to go unnoticed failed. You're not forgettable. You're not invisible. You were never designed to be. You were born with a code in your soul that doesn't cooperate with false systems. Religious performance, toxic culture, fake smiles, superficial connections, you break all of it just by existing authentically. That's why people projected onto you. That's why they gossiped, doubted, attacked. You threatened the structure they built their identities on. And whether they realized it or not, your frequency was disrupting what they thought was stable. You walk into a room and things shift. The truth starts rising. Masks start cracking. Pretenses begin to fall apart. They'll call it attitude. They'll say you're too much. They'll label you rebellious, dramatic, arrogant. But what they're really saying is, I don't know how to maintain my illusion in front of you. Chosen one, listen closely. You're not a problem. You're a mirror, and the mirror doesn't lie. It just reflects what's there. And that reflection, it makes people feel exposed, naked, uneasy. You didn't attack anyone, but your presence forced them to see themselves, and some people would rather reject you than face what your spirit reveals about them. That's why the most spiritually impactful people often walk alone. Not because they're unlovable, but because they carry a clarity that others can't yet handle. You've always been a soul that made people question things they'd buried. And now that you've returned, that energy has only intensified. You've realigned with your higher self. Your vision is clearer. Your discernment is deeper. Your energy hits harder. You no longer walk into rooms looking for acceptance. You walk in as the reset. Not because of ego, but because of purpose. You are the interruption to everything fake. The breaker of cycles. The quiet roar that forces change, and people don't know why they're drawn to you. They just feel it. The gravity, the weight, the vibration that says something's different. And they can't unfeel it. That's the mark of a disruptor. That's the burden and the blessing of the chosen. Chosen one. When you speak, people don't just listen, they reconsider. When you stand still, people feel like they're being watched. Not by eyes, but by truth itself. You are a walking contradiction to every false comfort, a living reminder that something more is possible, that deeper is real, that freedom isn't found in blending in. It's found in being who you really are, and that's why your comeback isn't just personal. It's prophetic. You're not coming back just to be seen. You're coming back to recalibrate the atmosphere, to shift conversations, to ignite purpose, to awaken courage in people who've been sleepwalking through life. Your energy will make people quit jobs they hate, walk away from relationships they've outgrown, face fears they've avoided for years, dream again, speak again, stand again, not because you told them to, but because your presence activated what they forgot they carried. You are a spiritual ignition switch, and the ones who are ready, they'll feel it, they'll respond, they'll rise. But others, they'll panic, they'll push back, they'll criticize what they don't understand. Don't let that stop you. That's not rejection, it's resistance to truth. It's the system cracking, and you are the catalyst. So stop shrinking, stop apologizing, stop trying to be palatable. You were not made for performance, you were made for impact. Your frequency is loud now. Your clarity is non-negotiable. And your presence, it's a spiritual earthquake. The world will either adjust or get out of your way, because you're not just walking into rooms anymore. You're walking into assignments. You're not asking for change, you are the change. And when you move, chosen one, everything moves. Your crown was reforged in silence, chosen one. There were days when you couldn't recognize yourself anymore. The fire that once roared inside you dimmed. The voice that once carried strength fell silent. The confidence you used to wear like armor shattered. And in that silence you wondered, did I lose myself? Did I lose the spark? Did I lose my crown? But here's the truth you couldn't see back then. You didn't lose it. You were being reforged. See, average people get upgrades, but chosen ones, we get rebuilt. From the inside out. Your crown wasn't taken, it was under construction. The throne you're being called to sit on isn't light. It requires a different weight, a different mindset, a different presence, and so everything you once leaned on had to be stripped, not to destroy you, but to prepare you. You were being fitted for a new level of authority. You weren't falling apart, you were being restructured. Your silence? It wasn't a void. It was the workshop, the quiet chamber where the divine was molding your spirit with surgical precision. Chosen one. Your confusion was not failure. It was programming being deleted. Outdated beliefs being uninstalled, old limitations being erased. That exhaustion you felt, that wasn't weakness, that was the weight of new power being downloaded into your body. It was the recalibration of a vessel being prepared for something larger than your past could carry. You weren't being punished, you were being promoted, and promotions in the spirit often feel like destruction in the flesh. Because before you can be crowned in public, you must be crushed in private. You weren't overlooked. You were being hidden from premature exposure, from false celebration, from the wrong audience, like a weapon sealed off in a vault until the war begins. You were locked away until it was your time to emerge, and now you feel it. That slow burn reigniting in your chest, that quiet roar in your spirit returning. That familiar, unshakable certainty beginning to rise again. But this time, it's different. Because this isn't the spark you used to have. This is refined fire. Fire with memory, fire with direction, fire that doesn't flicker, it focuses, and the crown you wear now? It's heavier, sharper, forged by betrayal, rejection, heartbreak, and wisdom. You don't walk the same, you don't speak the same. You don't need to prove anything. Because this crown wasn't gifted, it was earned. In tears, in silence, in spiritual battlefields no one else could see. You were in the fire so long they thought you were gone. But what they didn't know is you were becoming fireproof, chosen one. This version of you doesn't run on the same fuel anymore. You've outgrown the approval of people. You've transcended the shallow applause of the world. You're not motivated by noise. You're driven by assignment. You're powered by alignment, and that makes you unstoppable. You're not coming back to blend in. You're coming back to govern, to rule in areas where you were once ruled by fear, to speak in spaces where you once stayed silent, to lead in rooms that once made you question your worth. The crown on your head now? It was crafted in your darkest moments. It's lined with lessons, etched with scars, infused with divine authority. You're no longer fragile. You're focused. They used to mistake your kindness for weakness. Now they'll learn that your silence was lethal, because while they were speaking loudly, you were sharpening quietly, and now the blade is ready. You're not re-entering the world as who you were. You're arriving as who you were meant to be. You've carried the burden. Now it's time to carry the crown. But this time, you won't carry it with arrogance. You'll carry it with awareness, because you know what it cost. You remember what it took, and you'll never again forget who you are. Chosen one, this is your confirmation that crown fits now. It's yours, and it's time to wear it, not to prove a point, but to fulfill a purpose. So let them whisper, "Who is that?" Let them stare. Let them wonder, because they're not seeing the old you. They're seeing the crowned force that rose from ashes they thought would bury you. You are not their memory. You are not their version of you. You are the elevation they never saw coming. And your crown, it shines best in the places where they tried to dim you. So walk with it, rule with it, honor it. Because this time, it's not just a comeback, it's a coronation. Pain was your rite of passage, 900 words, chosen one. Let's talk about the pain. The part nobody wants to remember, the part everybody tries to forget, but you can't forget it, can you? Because it shaped you. It carved new roads in your heart. It built endurance in places where you only knew weakness. And here's what you need to know. That pain, that fire, that isolation, it wasn't random. It was your rite of passage. It was your initiation into a level of power that could not be learned in comfort. See, ordinary people learn through lessons, but chosen ones, we are shaped through wounds. Pain is heaven's tool to remove what cannot follow you into destiny. Pain strips illusions. Pain reveals motives. Pain forces clarity. It teaches you who is for you and who was only for your benefits. It exposes every false agreement you made with yourself, the lie that you weren't enough, the lie that you needed them to be whole, The lie that comfort was better than calling. Chosen one. Your story had to go through pain, not because God wanted to harm you, but because there was no other way to build the version of you required for your assignment. The soft version of you wouldn't have survived where you're going. The easily shaken version of you wouldn't have lasted in the rooms you're about to enter. The approval-seeking version of you would have compromised everything you're about to carry. Pain forced the transformation that comfort never could. Every heartbreak was surgery. Every betrayal was cleansing. Every silent night was construction. You were being fortified in the unseen, strengthened in the shadows, sharpened behind the scenes. Chosen one. You were dragged through fire not to be burned, but to be forged. You were broken apart so you could be rebuilt without cracks, without weak points, without compromise. The loneliness you endured, that was protection. Isolation wasn't punishment, it was purification, because God knew. Not everyone deserved access to your next level. Not everyone could handle the version of you He was building. There were people attached to your life who loved your old self, the agreeable one, the naive one, the version of you that didn't know your worth. But the new you, the crowned, sharpened, unshakable you, they couldn't handle that. So heaven made a trade: temporary pain for eternal purpose, temporary loneliness for divine alignment, temporary confusion for supernatural clarity. Chosen one. Every scar you carry is proof that you survived what should have destroyed you. And the best part? That pain didn't just build you, it built power into you. You now walk differently. You now discern quicker. You now love wiser. You don't give your energy away freely anymore. You don't explain your worth to those committed to misunderstanding you. That's what pain taught you. Boundaries, clarity, authority. Your silence was never weakness, it was wisdom loading. Your withdrawal wasn't fear, it was recalibration. Your tears weren't wasted. They were watering the soil of your next harvest. Chosen one. You've been through too much fire to ever be shaken by the opinions of people again. You've carried too much weight to ever bow to shallow validation again. And here's what they don't understand. They thought the pain broke you, but all it did was break the old you, the fragile version, the dependent version, the small version. What rose from the ashes is a warrior, silent, calculated, unmovable. They look at you now and wonder, why are they so cold? Why are they so guarded? Why are they so different? And the answer is simple. Because the fire changed you, because the pain shaped you, because you are no longer who you were. You didn't just heal, you hardened in the right places with the right lessons, and now your life carries weight. Now your words hit different. Now your presence demands respect without saying a thing. That's not ego, that's evidence. Evidence of what you survived, evidence of what you conquered, evidence that pain was never your ending. It was your evolution, chosen one. You didn't go through all that to stay quiet. You didn't survive all that to play small. You didn't endure all that to live like everybody else. You were set apart. You were broken open. You were refined for something greater, in this world, it has no idea the kind of force that's now walking in your skin. You are not fragile. You are fire-tested. You are not lost. You are laser-focused. You are not the same, and that was the whole point, chosen one. The pain didn't come to bury you. It came to birth you. This isn't your comeback story. This is your coronation. Divine timing. Stop forcing doors to open. Chosen one. There's something you need to understand about your story. Not every closed door was rejection. Not every delay was punishment. Not every season of waiting was failure. Some doors stayed shut because heaven was protecting you. You didn't miss your blessing. You didn't lose your destiny. You weren't forgotten. You were being hidden for the right moment. See, when you're chosen, timing isn't optional. It's everything. There is a rhythm to divine destiny, a pace set by heaven itself. And the most dangerous thing you could have done was try to rush ahead of God's process. Many people force doors open. They manipulate opportunities. They hustle their way into rooms they're not ready to stand in. And what happens? They crumble under the weight they begged for too soon. But you, chosen one, you were spared from that because your destiny was too important to be exposed prematurely. That season where nothing was moving. That season where it felt like everyone else was advancing. Everyone else being celebrated. Everyone else getting opportunities. While you sat in silence, wondering if God forgot your name. That was not punishment. That was divine hiding. You were protected behind the scenes, covered from enemies you didn't even know were watching. Shielded from environments that would have drained you dry. Blocked from stages that would have exposed your unhealed places. Heaven knew what you didn't, that your anointing was heavy, and heavy anointing requires heavy preparation. Chosen one, it wasn't time yet. If you had walked through those doors too soon, you would have faced battles your spirit wasn't ready for. You would have attracted praise from people waiting to tear you apart. You would have mistaken applause for alignment. But God loved you too much to let you rise in weakness. So He hid you. He slowed you down. He delayed the spotlight, not to punish you, but to fortify you. That loneliness, that invisibility, that feeling like you were stuck in a story with no movement. That was protection in disguise. Sometimes heaven closes every door just to give you time to outgrow your old self. Sometimes the blessing isn't walking through an open door, it's being kept out until you're strong enough to own the room when you enter. Chosen one, you were not waiting in vain. You were waiting in formation. Formation of your wisdom. Formation of your discernment. Formation of your authority. Because let's be clear, where you're going, you can't afford to second-guess your value. You can't afford to negotiate your worth. You can't afford to walk in timid, and so heaven used the weight to build your roots deeper, to clean your vision sharper, to anchor your identity unshakably when others were rushing. You were being refined. While they ran into chaos disguised as success, you were being prepared for longevity. And now the doors are about to open, not because you forced them, but because you grew into them. You don't have to chase what's yours. You don't have to compete for what's divine. You don't have to hustle for what was written with your name on it. When heaven opens a door, no man, no lie, no enemy can shut it. And when you walk through it this time, you will know this wasn't luck. This wasn't accident. This wasn't coincidence. This was alignment. You'll walk in with clarity. You'll stand in it with confidence. And you'll move through it with peace. Because you didn't manipulate the process. You honored the timing. You stayed faithful in the shadows. You stayed humble in the silence. And that faithfulness, it will speak for you louder than anything else. Chosen one. Stop looking at closed doors with regret. Stop looking at delays with frustration. Stop calling your wait wasted time. Nothing was wasted. Every silent season was preparation. Every hidden year was protection. Every tear cried in isolation was watering your destiny. And now you walk into rooms you didn't beg for. Now you step into blessings you didn't force. Now you access opportunities you didn't manipulate. Because your time has come, and it won't feel rushed. It won't feel fragile. It won't feel unstable. It will feel right, because this is what divine timing feels like. Effortless movement, unshakable peace. Doors opening because heaven authorized it, not because you chased it. So rest, chosen one. Rest in knowing that you were never behind. You were right on schedule. Every setback was a setup. Every delay was development. Every closed door was protection. And now the doors that matter, the doors prepared specifically for you, are opening. Not because you forced them, but because you became the version of you who could carry them. Your return is a system reset, 900 word. Chosen one. You didn't come back to be seen. You came back to shake systems. Your return, it's not just personal, it's prophetic. You were never created to simply blend in. You weren't designed to walk quietly among the structures of this world. You were made to interrupt them, to expose them, to collapse them. And now, you're walking back in, not as a familiar face, but as the force they never saw coming. This time, you're not the same. You don't feel the same. You don't even move the same. That's because you're not re-entering with the energy of survival. You're re-entering with the weight of correction. You've become the mirror, the wake-up call, the glitch in their system of illusions. They built false peace in your absence, but now your return is triggering earthquakes. And you don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to argue or convince. Just being in the room now creates tension, not because you're trying to cause chaos, but because your truth disrupts every lie they've made comfortable. Chosen one. Your very presence collapses fake personas. Your silence destabilizes performance. Your authenticity makes pretense feel unbearable. You were the stabilizer before, the one holding peace together. But now you're the correction. And the rooms you re-enter, they can feel it. They don't know why, but everything feels off. That's because systems that thrived in your absence, systems built on ego, control, fear, manipulation, they can't survive the return of a soul like yours. You are walking divine interference, and make no mistake, the energy you carry now is no longer subtle. It's sharpened, it's clean, it's undeniable. People won't know whether to be inspired or intimidated. They'll feel both, because deep down they know. They know the old version of you wouldn't have survived what you've survived. They know something happened in the silence. They can feel the recalibration. And now you are no longer someone they can mold, manipulate, or misunderstand. You are a reset. You are what happens when someone aligns so deeply with their calling that everything false begins to fall apart around them. You're not trying to prove anything. You don't need their validation. Your energy alone speaks louder than any explanation ever could. It says, I know who I am. I know what I carry, and I know exactly why I'm here. And when that kind of presence walks into a space, everything must adjust. People will end conversations early. They'll rethink their choices. They'll feel exposed and inspired, all in the same breath. That's the paradox of your return. You trigger people. You challenge them, but you also awaken them, because the energy you're carrying now is activational. It makes people remember the version of themselves they buried. It calls forth the dreamer inside the doubter. It pulls the truth out of the performance. You're not here to destroy people. You're here to destroy the systems that kept them asleep. And chosen one. This world has been asleep far too long. They've grown comfortable in chaos, numb in routine, desensitized to truth, but your presence, it rewires the atmosphere. It brings things back into alignment. It reintroduces clarity, and clarity can be terrifying when you've lived too long in illusion. So don't be surprised when people avoid you. Don't be shocked when they label you too much, too intense, too different. That's not about you. That's about the light you carry. A light too bright for eyes adjusted to the dark. You're not just returning to be celebrated, you're returning to rebuild, to reset conversations, to reignite visions, to reclaim space. You're the spiritual shockwave that breaks what no longer belongs. Chosen one. You are walking evidence that silence can sharpen, that stillness can strengthen, that what looks like loss is often just refinement. And now that you're back, there is no more room for pretending. The masks fall, the games end, the illusions evaporate. Because your energy demands reality, so walk boldly, walk quietly, but walk with knowing that every step you take now is aligned, is authorized, is anchored in divine timing. This is not your comeback. This is a divine reset, a spiritual update being carried on your shoulders. Your frequency doesn't just change rooms, it reprograms them. You don't just awaken people, you reposition them. You don't just rise, you take the entire environment with you. And that, chosen one, is why your return was delayed. Because the world wasn't ready. The systems weren't ready. You weren't fully ready. But now everything is aligned. And as you walk forward, let them feel the shift, let them feel the stretch, let them feel the space between who they pretended to be and who they're being called to become, because you didn't come back for applause. You came back with assignment, and the moment your feet hit the ground again, the reset began. Chosen one. You felt it. This wasn't just another message. This was a mirror, a confirmation, a reckoning. The version of you that got silenced, that got doubted, that got buried, it didn't die. It evolved. And now that version is back, sharper, heavier, undeniable. What the world is about to witness isn't your return, it's your arrival. You were hidden, not forgotten. You were protected, not rejected, and now the silence has ended. But this time, you don't return as the same soul they once underestimated. You return as the one who was refined by fire, fortified by time, and forged in divine timing. This comeback, it's not personal, it's prophetic. You're not here to be liked, you're here to ignite. So walk boldly into every space that once felt too small. Speak with the clarity that once felt too sharp. Move with the power that once scared even you. Because now, chosen one, you've remembered who you are, and the world won't know what hit it. Let this be your anchor. You are not the same, and you were never meant to be. The time for shrinking is over. The time for silence is done. Now is the time for full emergence, full authority, full fire. So if this message stirred something in your spirit, if you feel that divine voltage rising in your chest again, don't keep it to yourself. Comment 777 below to seal this moment with your voice, a number of divine completion, spiritual alignment, and chosen confirmation. And if you're ready to walk with others who carry this frequency, smash that subscribe button. Because this isn't just a video, it's a movement. This is your time, your table, your throne. Now rise and let them feel what destiny truly sounds like when it walks back in.